that's great, but this is not going to work. You have to take that off.
It's how I'm feeling. It's just so wintry out here.
It's very monk-like.
Cowling up seems to be the thing to do.
It is freezing.
Okay. Let's make this a short video.
Yes. Hi, everyone.
Hello. Here we go.
I've just put Bear inside because the echidnas are around the porch and he keeps running off and barking at them. So there's mobs.
Very disturbing.
Yeah.
It's Sunday evening. It's been quite the week.
Yeah, it's been beautiful. Yeah, full on though.
Yeah.
My favorite part of the week was Friday, and we had a wonderful harvest festival with the entire community. A couple of families raised free-range pigs, and 2 of them were ready to be enjoyed. So we had whole roast pig, and there was salad bar and a cakewalk. And
the pigs were fully committed.
Yes. And there was an open stage and hay rides. Oh, and the little stone oven was going with
wow.
pizzas.
Yeah, individual pizzas.
Yes.
That was epic.
There was singing.
Not to forget the basketball comp.
Yes. Chris did a basketball comp. The Vole Patrol.
Mm-hmm.
That was really great. Yes.
We had an open stage. I even got silly for a bit with some other people.
Yes, you did. Yes. It was
lived through that.
Yes. Community.
The kids lived through that.
Your sons are still...
Anyway, and so that gets us to Sunday, which is today. I had a really beautiful afternoon. I had a chance to go out on the water and just be reminded of how beautiful creation around us is. I'll share a really short overlay of that just to make you jealous. But
and I went on a bushwalk with a deer friend.
Yeah, one of these days I'll do a full-on
let's do a fishing
video.
Yeah.
Sorry, you were saying about your bushwalk.
Oh, but it was just, same thing. We were both out in nature and it was gorgeous. Yeah. The festival on Friday was a great celebration of community, and it reminded me of an article that you shared with me this week, and we both read, because it had a lot of themes that touched on the joys and difficulties and what it's like to live in a community.
Yeah, so this was an article that a friend of mine sent to us, and it's kind of interesting. It's from The Nation, which is not a website I frequent a lot, but this was definitely a piece that we resonated with. The title is What It Was Like Growing Up on a Commune, and it's by Kathryn Jezer-Morton. I think that's how you say her name. And she describes the commune that her parents joined, I guess back in the 60s or 70s. It's been going over 50 years now, she says. And the points she's making are great, and a lot of it is stuff that we identify with, of course, as children of community members growing up within a community environment where there's really very little emphasis placed on stuff, and we don't have a lot of we have no possessions by design, and we have very little in a physical sense like that to give our children or to bequeath them in any way. And her experience was much the same, wanting designer things or, the latest and greatest in soccer shorts or whatever it was that others her age she knew had, and her parents really had no interest in procuring said items. I love the line here where she says that I'm a fair weather friend to commune living. I want the good parts, community interdependence without the bad parts. The community never goes home. That was reminding me of something an older sister once told me in our community. She said, community would be a great thing if it weren't for the people. and that's really often how it is. But, a celebration like we had Friday is a moment to remind us of just, how much we do really just enjoy celebrating together and being together. And
you don't get the celebration without going through the hard stuff together as well.
And in community, that's our daily job, is to bring out the best in each other. And when we don't, just to find ways to tease each other and laugh.
A lot of you have asked us to tell about what it was like growing up in the community. We're going to hold that conversation for another day and touch instead on a few points she raises about hospitality.
And just before we get to that, a couple things that I found great. Everyone's life is everyone else's business on a commune, and while that can be a huge pain it also means that there is usually, can I say that word on YouTube? I don't even know. Anyway, you know where. It also means that there is usually someone close by to help out with cooking or cleaning or childcare or with a ride into work or a hug.
A hug, yes.
Yeah. And I guess, for that we would talk about the fact that ultimately, we're not called to like each other in community. We're called to love each other, which is a far greater calling.
Yeah, far greater. Much more difficult.
But that's like a marriage.
But enduring,
right?
Yes, yeah.
I mean, it helps if you like the person you're married to. Yeah. That's a starting point.
Yes.
But love goes a lot further than that.
It does.
My parents taught me that doing stuff together, building things, throwing parties, mobilizing for change is the way to care for each other. And that's something I'd say, we've tried to also pass along in raising our sons, is that it's the things we do together, the memories we build, the experiences we have that are far more enduring and of real value than anything we could possibly provide for them
Or even like
materially.
after the celebration was done on Friday, the cleanup in the kitchen. It was just really fun. Like there's a whole bunch of generations deboning the pork for another meal. There's different generations at the dish sink.
I was at the dish
Is
sink,
it?
but I am old and wise enough to dodge the water fight at the end. That was good. Anyway, it's always something.
Yeah.
So, but to the point Norann was saying, okay, so here goes.
And hospitality. Yeah, we want to talk about hospitality and entertainment.
Yeah, so
and
she
how-
says inviting our friends into a larger part of our lives means reclaiming more of our time from the isolation of work and daily survival. Our social lives and our survival become the same thing. Entertaining each other at dinner parties will always be fun, but what about sharing childcare or joining community organizations together? So she's encouraging people to get out there and do things together, take on causes, get involved in local activities or things like that, rather than just constantly feeling the need to one-up each other.
Yeah.
She goes on, when it comes to working for my employer, a strict boundary is essential, but when it comes to hanging out with my friends, why should I be so rigid? Why not allow my social life to overtake my errand running and my chores? Why must we try to, in quotes, entertain each other when our relationships would become much deeper and more interesting if we did things together other than nibble hors d'oeuvres and drink wine?
It's making,
I'm a big fan of
I know.
nibbling hors d'oeuvres and drinking wine.
It's making me want to be sipping a big glass of red right
But let's
now.
talk about that a little bit.
Yeah,
You
it's-
unpack that for us.
Well, it's really something that we've had to learn, I guess, and Australians have been really great at teaching us that here. But the fact that when we entertain each other and the house has to look perfect and the food has to be perfect and everything has to be perfect, the kids are never perfect, so that's kind of embarrassing. It always ends up feeling flat and we don't really get to know each other. But when people show up and not everything's perfect and not everything's finished, and we enter in, like she says, into chores, to making the meal together, to chopping the wood, to sitting around a fire, to sharing childcare, something much more beautiful and deeper happens in our relationship than just like, let's show up and then let's go away and pretend it all was fantastic. And I found that the more we also spontaneously either host people in our house or go over to people's houses, the more we are free to open up to one another in the deepest things that we want to talk about.
Sure.
Also the difficulties that we're going
Obviously,
through in life.
there's planned events. So, like,
Yeah.
if you're going to invite somebody over for dinner, there's nothing
Yeah.
wrong, in my view, to spending a little effort to, sweeping the dust bunnies from under the couch so they don't go away with a asthma fit. Our house can look like the wreck of the Hesperus,
Yeah.
as my mother would say.
Yes, yeah.
And so to put in a bit of an effort and say,
Yeah.
boys, we're hosting tonight. You could throw on some clean clothes and possibly a squirt of deodorant.
Yeah.
There's nothing
Yeah.
wrong with that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I guess more the thing, that we're not constantly trying to one-up each other. And almost in a way, I guess for us, that whole social side of things is maybe a little foreign in community because our playing field is so level.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
But I think, we can all do that in different ways. And, maybe at the heart of it, it's just about being genuine with our time and where we are on any given day, and being ready for interruptions and for the surprises of somebody just walking into our space and then needing our full attention, and frankly our love.
And perfectionism is slow death on so many different levels. And when we're striving for that, we're not meeting expectations in ourselves, we're not meeting expectations in other people, and you just end up frustrated. And when you let go of those expectations of perfection and just be, it's amazing how you can move forward in a relationship and actually forge bonds that you never would have expected.
This is probably a thought to save for another day, but I think too, the respect for each other has to mean then that when you have these shared times together, that you just hold those in confidence.
Yes.
If I have if I go to somebody's house and I let my guard down and we interact on a fairly deep level,
Yeah.
if I then hear from 3 other people, by the way, that this conversation happened, that's not very comfortable.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think we need to then, in a way, almost like have reverence for those moments when we do break down the walls, when it's more than just the wine and the hors d'oeuvres. Pause for the truck.
Keep going with your thought. I really like it.
It's a full B double load of cattle going that way.
Yeah, I think so.
Anyway, that is my thought.
Yeah, we have to hold those, and I think also especially when our friends are going through times of grief, and we'll talk about bereavement in another video, but when people are going through times of grief or difficulty, that's when we have to go around, especially if it's awkward, especially if it's difficult, and we have to hold space for them and for those difficult moments.
You know, and if I could throw another idea in here, and with respect, you being a Twitter girl, I think there's a real danger in today's age where we're on Instagram, we're on Twitter, we're on Facebook. We can filter our lives quite literally, and make it look like we're just wall to wall glamour. Not us, but you know what I'm saying. Like people can do that, right?
Yeah.
And you're selling a version of yourself that's far from factual.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's where also then I think perhaps some of that pressure comes in.
Absolutely.
That,
my house has to look a certain way. My hair has to look a certain way.
Heaven help us if somebody walks through the door and things aren't, in line with that falsified image.
Yeah. And love does so much look like baskets of folded laundry, dishes that need washing, floors that need sweeping, and we can do those things for each other and without, when the house isn't just amazing, we can just step in and fill the void.
Yeah.
And I'm very conscious of it being on Twitter, and of course I need to protect the lives of my kids and the kids around me.
Sure.
So I'm very careful about that, but that I don't just, filter out everything that's difficult and hard and say when I'm, sad about something or concerned, and I think that's really important.
So one thing that may be somewhat difficult and hard for you is that this coming week is your birthday. We're not getting any younger, let's just say that. No, but I'm looking forward to celebrating that with you, and we'll see how that goes down. I think we've probably we've gone on long enough on this particular riff.
Yeah.
But let's try to use this week ahead to find ways to just be that extra little bit genuine in the way we relate to each other.
Yes.
Let our guard down a little more readily.
Yep.
Not care too much if somebody walks in and there's piles of dishes in the sink or smelly socks on the floor, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And just I guess that realness is what we want to work for in our home life, in our marriage, and of course we got ample opportunities in the life of our community to see each other, warts and all, and that's how it needs to be.
Yeah.
Keeps us going.
Here's to turning 45.
You want to put that out there?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I love my 40s. I'm going to own 45.
Okay. Guys, we'll leave a link.
Happy to be here.
We will leave a link in the description to this video for this article, what it was like growing up on a commune. Check it out. It's worth the read.
If it raises other questions for you,
let us know.
Let us know.
It's been great chatting, and we will see you next time. Have a good week.
Enjoy. I know I'm going to.